fight was getting mentioned and talked about and, signed, I just felt like he just did a lot of fake stuff and said a lot of stuff that, a person that you claim that you cool with, you would never say. So that was my big issue with him. I just know, character take you a long way.
Given Floyd Mayweather's recent transgressions, Terence Crawford has now spoken up about what went wrong between them and why the boxing legend has been pursuing him. In a recent interview, Crawford claimed that Floyd started acting strange toward him just before he defeated Canelo.
Using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he's in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter, though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality and his.
He always tries to support me and other things before my battles, but this time I didn't hear from him. However, men who knew him told me that he didn't enjoy the fight and didn't want me to win either. However, I didn't listen. I felt something wasn't right after seeing his reaction when questioned about the altercation.
Hey Floyd, what do you think about the fight, Crawford Mayweather? He says it's going to be a good fight. Do you think the winner should get Canelo?
Sir.
We're saying about him right now.
You didn't give that fight your all, then. Crawford added that Floyd was the one who disclosed that he had been hurt at the camp.
So you didn't go into that fight 100%, you think? I asked for no details.
No, not at all. No. I don't know when did I ever win in a fight. You know what I mean? But
indeed, he disclosed my ailments to the public as well. He was the one who revealed that to me. Naturally, I wouldn't acknowledge it before to the altercation. After that, I entered the ring, did what I had to do, and won. You all witnessed his wager. I questioned why he would wager on me but not get in touch with me. However, I'm not the kind to discuss things that haven't been released yet. Crawford claims that he disregarded Floyd until Floyd started challenging him to a duel in an attempt to identify the true GOAT. I've just ever been a nice friend and fan of his, therefore I don't get the jealousy.
I had disliked a lot of things that he was saying, and how he was acting, being that, me, I'm a real individual. I just felt like, we was all cool at one point in time.
So why call me out? As Crawford's victory seems more remarkable, he acknowledged that he wasn't at full strength before the Canelo-Alvarez bout. Crawford became undisputed at 168 after defeating Canelo by unanimous decision. In addition, he became the first man to be undefeated in the 140, 147, and 154 weight classes. Floyd Mayweather was the source of rumors prior to the fight that Crawford was battling a shoulder issue that was reportedly becoming worse throughout his training camp. In response to the rumors, Crawford denied that he was in pain.
my elbows is hurting, my hands, my wrists, my neck, things like that. You gotta listen to your body and just say, all right, decompress. I'ma just chill out and let my body just do what it do.
I know you had a great camp, but brother, you finna be 38 soon, like in a day.
There are pains in my elbows, hands, wrist, neck, and other areas. You must just say, all right, decompress, and pay attention to your body. I'm going to relax and let my body take care of itself. I'm sure your camp was fantastic. Well, but you're going to be 38 in a day, brother. Oh no. According to a reliable source, Terence Crawford's surgically repaired shoulder has been getting worse during camp. It appears to have persisted over the last 8 to 10 weeks and is being actively watched.
If I take Floyd Mayweather in his absolute prime, and I take Manny Pacquiao in his absolute prime,
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd still beats him.
Floyd beat everybody.
You don't believe there's a guy at 140, 147 in the history of boxing that could have beat Floyd in his prime?
It'd be tough. Floyd, man, that boy, man, that's the GOAT, man. That boy bad.
What makes it, because, and I told people, to say, look at Floyd. I said, Floyd, it's not that he trains, it's his life. And from the very beginning, he's like, I want to be the best.
When I fought Canelo, I was 36 and Canelo was 23, around the same age. Some of these guys won world titles and was undisputed champion. I think, the Tank age, the young little champions. Canelo was 23 with 43 fights and 30 knockouts.
Where might I sustain an injury to my shoulder? I'm not sure. People, in my opinion, invent their own stunts. Terence Crawford sustained an injury to his shoulder. Terence Crawford is not feeling well. Terence Crawford is slow. They are coming up with everything, Crawford stated. In retrospect, Crawford was not inclined to acknowledge that he was dealing with a problem that could have strengthened Canelo's camp.
Terence Crawford on the shade, Terence Crawford slow, Terence Crawford. Yeah, they coming up with.
But when questioned about his health before the fight, Bud admitted to Andre Ward that he wasn't feeling well. In camp, I had a lot going on. I was also coping with injuries. I wasn't totally committed to the fight. Absolutely not. You won't always enter camp and emerge completely unharmed. How did I feel? Is another question that many people are asking me. I had a lot going on in camp, dude. This battle, the previous battle, the final battle. Similar to injuries. Injuries as well. Crawford said.
Here too. Couple days, right? How was that last camp you just had?
It was great.
I know it was great. Well, did you feel different at 37?
A little bit, yeah.
You had no bumps and bruises?
Man, we always got bumps and bruises.
I'm saying bumps and bruises at 37.
And I had bumps and bruises at 27. You know what I mean?
The fact that Terence Crawford wasn't 100% accentuates how spectacular his win was. The enormous task of leaping 2 weight classes to take against the uncontested champion was the first obstacle. A shoulder injury also directly impairs the ability to maintain a strong defensive guard, the endurance required to sustain a high punch rate, and the mechanics for producing force. Crawford's mental toughness is demonstrated by his masterful performance, which neutralizes Canelo's body onslaught and constantly outlands him while hiding the possible weakness of his shoulder.
Are you feeling the difference in power now you've moved up and you're at your natural weight?
Of course. You know, the power is definitely going to come with it. You know, so that's not any worries that I ever had to have.
Terence, what excites you the most about this challenge on Saturday night?
Shutting everybody up.
And what does this feel like to you, Terence? We normally don't come in an arena and see you booed the way that you were today. How excited are you to shut everybody up?
Hey, man, it happened.
It quiets detractors who might have minimized the victory by implying that Canelo was washed or that he just had a rough night following his own announcement that he will undergo shoulder surgery following the Crawford defeat. It's interesting to note that Canelo Alvarez, who reportedly fought against an injury sustained during the fight, experienced the same thing. The argument over whether the injury was a deciding factor in the bout, or if it is just a matter of finding an excuse when faced with a true defeat, has been rekindled by the announcement that the Mexican will have elbow surgery. Many people consider this to be the Mexican boxer's most agonizing defeat, due to what was at risk as well as the stage of his career at the time.
If you can, compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence "Bud" Crawford, if you can.
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
Canelo Alvarez will have surgery to correct an elbow ailment that will prevent him from competing for 5 to 6 months, according to recent sources. His program is put on pause while he recovers because he still has at least 2 more fights left on the Riyadh season contract. The Mexican had previously experienced bodily issues. He had wrist surgery following the trilogy against Gennady Golovkin, but he came back in 2023 to maintain his status as one of boxing's greatest icons.
You know, how did that feel to hear that from someone like him?
I just was like, well, you know, it's his personal opinion. He was in the ring with both of us, so a lot of people, you know, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. You know, one where he felt like he...
How did it feel to hear that from someone like him, you know? I simply said, look, because it's his personal perspective. He was in the ring with both of us. So many people may say anything they want, but he has actually been both of us in the ring. One where he felt like he was performing at his peak. Terence Crawford won handily, solidifying his place among today's top pound-for-pound fighters by controlling a large portion of the bout at Allegiant Stadium. However, several fans began to doubt the outcome once Canelo's operation was announced. The Mexican's absence of punches, maybe perceived by the elbow pain, was attributed to certain supporters. Social media users posted comments such, well, that explains why he wasn't throwing a lot of punches. However, some argue that Crawford won easily and that bringing up the injuries to undermine Bud's strong performance is unfair.
When you look at these fights, especially coming up. You gotta be realistic. You gotta, say, all right, how big is this dude really is? Because David Benavidez, he can fight his ass off. Me personally, I believe that.
Crawford against Mayweather, right? How do you think a fight between both of them turn out?
If Mayweather gets hit with Crawford like I hit him and rocked, it might not end well for Mayweather. They might be over it. But Mayweather could outbox Crawford, I think, because Crawford has the mindset that I'm trying to knock you out, and Mayweather knows how to play to that I'm trying to knock you out type of thing, because he's used to people coming at him trying to hit him hard all the time.
How Canelo will recover following the procedure is currently the main question. Before he takes on a top opponent once more, some think he ought to have a tune-up fight. Others think it could be time to consider retirement after working at the top level for so long. Terence Crawford is having fun at the Mountain Summit. In addition to solidifying him as a standard, his triumph over Alvarez sparked discussion about the potential of his legacy.
Like I am now.
How do you beat Floyd, since nobody's been able to crack that code?
You think I would tell you?
He ain't fighting anymore, so that fight ain't gonna happen.
By moving up 2 weight classes to fight Canelo for his undisputed super middleweight titles, Crawford took a significant risk. Additionally, there was a risk that Crawford would have lost via knockout, which would have dealt a serious injury to his career and reputation, given that this fight was televised on Netflix in front of millions of viewers. Crawford, on the other hand, created an upset and won by a unanimous vote. He became the first man boxer to win 3 different weight divisions without a challenge.
When I looked at it, he came out in the southpaw stance and he took Canelo's jab away from him. As you know, if you take a fighter's jab away from him, then it's hard for them to really land. You force them to use one shot, and he forced them to use his backhand, his rear hand. Crawford was ready for the looping of the right hand.
Crawford has solidified his status as one of the best boxers of his generation and possibly among the greatest fighters of all time with this triumph. Given that Crawford is at the top of his game and recently turned 38, there has been much conjecture on whether he will fight once more or if he is happy to retire and sail off into the sunset. There is merit to both possibilities. Crawford has nothing more to prove or achieve in the sport, to start. And if he returned to the ring, he would be jeopardizing his now impeccable reputation. However, Crawford would be if he hung up the gloves. There would be a lot of money on the table, particularly if he were to face Canelo again.
His speed, his power, his punch placement, his IQ, the way that he went about boxing. He's a hooper. I like to play basketball. He fish. I like to fish.
Nobody can predict Crawford's future course. Crawford actually doesn't know, as he disclosed in an interview with the legendary Andre Ward on the All the Smoke Fight podcast on September 30th. Crawford responded to Ward's question about his future by saying, "I'm chilling, man. To be completely honest, I have no idea what I'm going to do. As I mentioned, everything is uncertain at the moment. Simply said, I'm having fun with my family and loving being able to say, look what I accomplished."
Attention, a little bit of online beef. We saw Roy Jones here, him and Floyd Mayweather getting after it. Just what are your thoughts? I know you watch it because I can see the smile on your face.
It's 2 uncles, man, going at it, man. I don't know what to say. I don't even know how to feel about it. I mean, I do know this. They're fighters. And, entertainers and fighters, they're sensitive about their work.
In his debut fight for the WBO title, he defeated Thomas Darm via knockout at 140 pounds, setting the stage for his eventual tenure as the undisputed champion. The same pattern applied to his entry into the welterweight division. He defeated then WBO champion Jeff Horn handily, leading to Horn's surrender. Crawford's greatest accomplishment to date came in July 2023, when he defeated Errol Spence Jr. to claim the title of undisputed world welterweight champion. Following his victory over Madrimov, Crawford made it clear that his research into history was far from completed. His next bold move was to challenge the undisputed super middleweight title by moving up 2 weight divisions.
A lot of the stuff that Canelo was doing, and that I would say this, that work from Boots helped in that aspect, because Canelo was reacting to a lot of the counters that Crawford was throwing. Usually in the past, Canelo would stand right there. He would lunge and he would stay in place, keep his feet in place. However, Canelo...
Not for a belt, not for two, not even for a piece of dominance, but for the whole crown. The lone owner of all 4 major titles and the sport's indisputable face, Saul Canelo Alvarez, stood in his way. Alvarez mocked Crawford's candidacy with typical contempt, implying that his resume was weak in contrast. Crawford, however, was unconvinced. He never considered rums to be a measure of excellence. It was and would always be a skill-based situation.
It's wild, because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight.
Additionally, remember to enable notifications so you may be informed when we release high-quality content like this. Peace out until the next time.